Greetings. My name is Jay Shore, and I am the founding partner of Shore Solutions, an award-winning national practice management consulting firm specializing in the operational, administrative, financial health and guidance, along with my daughter, Mara Shore, of aesthetic, cosmetic, and medical practice, surgical practices. Today, I'm going to speak on how to communicate with patients and close the sale, the secret sauce to making money. Isn't that what it's really all about? Beyond making this an experience. So how do we let them know what makes your practice special and why they should get their treatment and their procedure from you? What do you bring to the table that makes you special from everyone else around? In your neighborhood, you've got a dozen med spas. If you're in New York on Park Avenue, if you're in Beverly Hills in the Triangle, if you're in Miami, if you're in Palm Beach, you have a med spa and a plastic surgery on every corner, if not 10 in the building. So what is it that makes you special? Well, when you have magic consulting closing questions, when you're so fortunate to be able to do the conversion and bring them in for the consult, what are the magical consulting questions that you have to ask? We spoke about this before. What are you looking for, and when are you looking to book your procedure? And how does the thought of this procedure make you feel? We want to be able to get the dialogue from the patient so that we can probe a little bit further. How soon are you looking to have the procedure so that when you have an idea, is somebody a tire kicker? Or are they really serious and wanting to get it done very, very quickly? And what's stopping you from booking this procedure today? Well, prior to a virtual consult, you may review the cancellation policy 24 hours ahead of time, because what you don't want to have happen, have no-shows. Confirm all of your automatic confirmations are working, like e-blasts or your text or email reminders, including the verbiage, making sure that they have the right location and the links to your website. And why do I say this? You say, oh, of course they know my website. Well, when we had a practice, and many of our clients have multiple locations, and guess what happens? They show up at the wrong location because you didn't confirm it. If you want to save them time, send out all the pre-paperwork, the HIPAA paperwork ahead of time of the consult so that they can either DocuSign it, e-sign it, send it back to you, and make sure that you're still on time when that patient walks into the door. So what do we want to do during the consult? Remember, this is a patient-physician, patient-provider experience. Take a deep breath. Make sure to regroup before you walk into the door or onto the screen if you're doing telemedicine, if you're virtual. Why do you want to regroup before you walk in the door? Well, either look at your tablet, make sure you look at your chart if you still have paper charts, and your staff may have given you a sticky note, or they may have told you something about that prospective patient or the existing patient that they heard that you haven't heard yet. If they room the patient, they can allow you to have a better understanding of what the questions you may ask. All right. Or what have they've already spoken to them about? And ask them what bothers them the most today that brings them in so that you're able to solve that problem. It's not about you. It's about them. Remember, it's for thems to every one of you. I want you all to pay attention, because patients will constantly be sending you out their verbal and nonverbal communication about who they are, what they want, and what their expectations are. It's maybe by their body movement. Maybe it's about something that they say. Maybe it's about something that makes them feel uncomfortable. Be able to read the patient very, very clearly. And what do we show patients? Well, what's best is showing them testimonials and before and after photos of your patients, not stock photos of things that you've pulled off of websites. Your patients from your photo book, your website, social media posts, and the highlights. It's what makes you I mean, you special and above the rest. Present them with patient financing options before they have to ask so that they don't have to ask, and have your quotes ready. Now you say, why do you present financing options? Let me share with you what I've heard from doctors and clients of ours. They felt, if I present them with patient financing options, it makes me look maybe cheap, a lesser grade of a physician. Well, that's not true. And I'll share with you why. Because patients who can afford it love to work with other people money, OPM. Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger had it great in their show called Other People's Money. I love to work with other people's money no matter how I can afford that procedure. All right. Times are tough. Money might be tight right now. So offer them the patient financing options. You can say to them, we have several methods to do it. We can pay credit card, you can pay cash, or you can finance it. Don't even mention the checks because, unless you're going to pay me by check a couple weeks ahead of time, maybe you don't even want to speak about it. So now you have three different types of options: good, better, and best. None is considered lesser expensive or cheaper. It's good, better, best. Review with the patient what all of your options are that suits the patient, both surgical and non-surgical. You'll find that maybe the certain patient is not a good surgical candidate, whether it's a medical clearance issue, whether it's a downtime issue, maybe it's a patient financing issue. You won't know that until you take a deep breath, probe, and ask the proper questions in order to get your answers. Remember, this is an emotional experience since they're going to be parting with their money. I have a thing I always like to say. It's not about the money. It's about the money. And why do I say that? Because everything is well and good until the person has to come out of pocket with 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000. You all know there are procedures that go anywhere between $500 for Botox to $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 for facelifts and surgical procedures in specific demographic areas that support that type and the different types of patients that you have. Pay attention to what the patient's needs are. They need hand holding. They need a friendly ear. It's great bedside manner. It's unconventional hours, like before or after your office opens or closes. Telemedicine has allowed us to do that, where you don't have to get there as early, or the urgency and a reason to act now. Maybe a patient wants to get it now, and other doctors they've been to, don't think for 1 second you're the only doctor or provider they've been to. Can it get done now? People say to me, well, I don't want to let them know that I can do it now. It makes it look like I'm not busy. Listen before you start talking and let the patient lead the conversation. There's always enough time to answer. What are the objections that we hear over and over again? And how do we turn objections into positives? And most importantly, what I call opportunities. So what are we going to hear? Of course, we're going to hear too expensive. I have to ask my husband or my wife, I don't have the downtime, or I just want to think about it. Are these questions that you haven't really heard before? Of course not. Have your opportunities and your phrases. I have to ask your spouse. Well, why don't you have your spouse come in and we can speak about it together? You don't have the downtime. Let's arrange for a time that you do. And what is it that you have to think about that I can't answer? Make sure you follow up. Put yourself on a schedule with a drip campaign. Drip campaign meaning the patient came in, they get an email, they get a phone call a day, 3 days, 5 days, a week, 2 weeks, and keep in touch with your patient with valuable information. And these include articles in which the product is featured, tips for products and specials and things like that. Don't let the other practitioner have the opportunity. So what if a patient isn't ready to book despite your best efforts? Keep them in your email marketing database. Encourage them to follow the practice on social media. Keep them on your event invitation list, both virtual and in person, because if they're not ready to book right now, it is very possible that you may have events virtual, and you could invite them. They may be able to speak to other patients in your patient base. If you have social media, Instagram, Facebook, make sure, ask them to follow you. They're going to be able to see everything that you do, your email marketing. It doesn't always have to be a sales push. Many times your email marketing, whether it's once a week, twice a week, every other week, once a month. My favorite button on my tablet and my iPhone is the edit the dot so I can delete as many as I can get rid of to clear that email that I have. But what won't I delete without reading it first, at least look at? The email from my doctor or provider. All right. Because I want to know what they're offering, especially if I've been in there and I'm looking for something. I'm not saying that you always have to have a financially priced offer. What I am saying is that you may have other things that you're offering, and it's brand awareness is front and center in their mind to allow them that maybe you've gotten a new device. It also can be educational in nature. It also can be something about your team. This one had a baby. This one is celebrating an anniversary with you. They've been there 5 years, 10 years, or whatever. People like to stay engaged with their provider. It's so much more than the sales effort. But really, you need to communicate with your patients better in closing the sale, because there are so many providers out there that can allow them to go somewhere else. And if that provider keeps in touch with your patient and your patient prospect, the early bird catches the worm, and the one that keeps constantly in contact, that's why it's called constant contact, will be the one that is able to secure that deal. In closing, I'd like to wish everybody good luck, God bless, and please stay safe.